And we're live. Cool. So good win for the Jazz. Before I hop into the game tonight and injury updates, I wanted to give a quick update on standings because it's after this game. I believe just have 8 games left. It might be 7 games left. So it's getting really close to the end of the season. So this is something that I'll probably keep updates on until playoff seeding is decided. So as of right now, after that game, the Jazz are half a game above the Suns. The Jazz, they have the same amount of losses. Jazz just have one more win, so that's good. The Spurs, who the Jazz just played, are. It looks like they'll get a play-in game. They are after this game. They're 2.5 games ahead of the Pelicans, and the Pelicans are trying to fight for that play-in spot. So it looks like the Spurs, unless they fall apart for the rest of the season, which they might, who knows? And they'll probably lose again on Wednesday because they play the Jazz again. But they're looking like they're going to hold on to that last play-in spot. One more update for the standings before I hop at this game and entry updates and stuff and look at comments. But the Lakers are tied with the Mavericks for the 5th seed. So they hold the 5th and the 6th seed. Right now, it has, I guess, Dallas has the tiebreaker because Dallas is listed a game as the 5th seed. LA is listed as the 6th, but LA is only half a game above Portland, and this is important for the Jazz because if Los Angeles has to go into the play-in tournament, there's a good chance they're playing the Jazz in the first round. If and that would make the Jazz getting the 1st seed that much more important because I can't see LA, as long as they're healthy, I can't see them dropping that first game to any of the teams not named Portland in the play-in tournament. And they're not, even if they did drop and Portland was still there somehow, they wouldn't be playing Portland either way. So if the Jazz do lose the 1st seed, drop to 2nd, and LA drops into the play-in tournament, there's a really good chance that the Jazz will be playing the Lakers in the first round of the playoffs, which I don't know. That's interesting. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. LeBron, the team isn't technically fully healthy. LeBron has come back and played some games. He's probably going to sit out a few more games because his goal is getting healthy. He doesn't feel like he's at 100%. And with the playoffs so close, you might not get 100% LeBron in the first round, which that might be a good thing. But then again, the Lakers are a tough matchup. So that'd be rough. That'd be a rough first matchup for the Jazz. But if you have any thoughts on that, we can leave it in the comments and we can come back to that. But to get to this game, awesome win by the Jazz. They played really well as a team. I want to give a shout out to Joe Ingles because he, on the box score, it didn't show that he really had it didn't look like he had an awesome game, but I feel like his impact was pretty big tonight. He was the primary ball handler. I think he did a good job at running the offense. He had an ankle breaker there, which that might be the first time Joe Ingles has had an ankle breaker in years. So that was fun. He had some cool passes. So shout out to Joe Ingles. He did awesome. I'll get into the box score a little deeper after I go through the team stats. But the Jazz, they played awesome tonight. They shot 50% from the field. Their 3-pointers were They shot just above 30%, but the Jazz have had worse nights, so I'm not complaining about that. Rebounded awesome, 13 plus 13 more rebounds than the Spurs. So, and the Spurs never had a lead. So, great win, especially considering Donovan Mitchell and Mike Conley were out. I didn't look up the update on Mike Conley, so I don't know what the whole plan is there. But I know Donovan Mitchell, he's I know on Saturday we were hoping he would come back for Denver, for the Denver game on Friday, but that isn't going to happen. I believe he's evaluated on Saturday, if I remember correctly, and he Um, and the news is just they're going to wait. Like he's making progress, everything's looking good. They're just going to wait another week before the next evaluation. So he's missing at least all the games until next Saturday, and I wouldn't expect him to come back then either. So looks like for this whole week, basically, we're without Donovan, um, which isn't the best, especially since we're fighting for the first seed. But whatever it takes for him to be healthy in the playoffs, that's what matters. So it's good that everything is on track for that. Looking at the box score, though, I gave my shout out to Joe Ingles. His stat line was 13 points, 9 assists, 2 steals. But I feel like it was, um, especially among the starters, the bench was kind of hit and miss. But especially among the starters, we saw a nice like good production from everyone. Even though like obviously Bogdanovich and Gobert had the best nights. Gobert specifically, he had 15 rebounds and 24 points on 10 for 14 shooting, and Bogey had 25 points. So it was great to see that. Bogey shot okay from 3, 2 for 7, but 10 for 17 from the field. Ying came in, hit some good threes. So I don't know. Happy with the performance. Royce O'Neal did his thing. He didn't score a ton. He didn't shoot a ton either. He shot 4 shots, which I've noticed he's been more hesitant recently, which isn't a bad thing. It's not like he's a great shooter, so I'm not mad at that. I would be okay with him shooting a little more, though. It's not like I'm trying to tell him to shoot more. But he had 7 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, a block. That's what I want out of him. Maybe a little bit more, but I think that's a good game from O'Neal. And then off the bench, Forrest, he did okay. He had 4 rebounds, 9 points. Clarkson had a 16, but Clarkson is still really inefficient. He's 7 for 20 from the field, 2 for 10 from 3. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Looking at the Spurs real quick. Drozen had 22, Murray had 15, Rudy Gay had 17. Yeah, really, the Spurs just got outmatched. The Jazz, even while they're missing Mitchell and Conley, are just a better team than the Spurs. And they played like that tonight, even though in recent games they haven't been playing great, with different lineups going on and injuries going on. But I'm glad we won. We played really good basketball. And what I loved about this is, from what I was seeing, they really played Utah Jazz basketball. They were playing their style of basketball, and they weren't like making some weird adjustment that they were uncomfortable with because of the different lineups. So I was excited to see Utah Jazz basketball again tonight. With that being said, I'll hop over to the live chat. Leave any of your thoughts that you have down there about the game, about the stat lines, about the injuries, or about the standings and like what we think for playoffs. We can get talking about those. And if you haven't liked the stream, go ahead and like the stream. It makes it easier for more people to see this, for more people to hop on while we're live, and then they can hop on the live chat. And that's really what makes this fun, is when we get good conversations going on in the live chat. So yeah, if you like the video, it'll make the video better. Sorry says that was a good game. I agree. Like I just said just before that little spiel, they were playing Utah Jazz basketball again. Even though it was against the Spurs aren't a great team. They're the 10th seed in the West. The Jazz aren't at full health, and I feel like they haven't really been playing that level of basketball for a long time. So that was awesome to see. Sorry says, for your Saturday stream, you should make a chart on screen on your best bracket in the playoffs for the Jazz. It's a good idea. This is a little insider information heads up. So for this Saturday, we already recorded the episode. It's more of like, it won't be as specific. We're talking about like the play-in games and what we think about that, just because Nate will be out of town again for that. I don't think we mentioned the episode, but just a heads up for that. But I think when it comes closer to playoffs, we'll really be honing in on that, and we'll definitely have a bracket episode. We'll probably reach out to you guys and ask you to like submit your predictions for the playoffs. I think that would be fun to see, and see who does the best. And like the cool thing about NBA playoff brackets is it's not like as hit and miss as college because you kind of know what's going to happen, and the big difference maker is how many games will a series end up in. So we'll definitely spend more time on that, and we'll see what we can do on the editing side to make that more fun with what's on screen. And another suggestion for Saturday, Sawyer says, and an off-season post-Jazz highlights because they are popular. That's a good idea. I was thinking, I don't know if you guys would like it, but I was thinking like just going through and compiling at least my personal favorite highlights. And I saw a comment, it might have been Sawyer in another video that said I should do like YouTube shorts. So I might just compile those, throw those into a video, and then cut them up and put them in shorts. So if you guys would like that, we can take the time to do something like that. It might not be like a complete season highlights. I don't know. My my editing skills are pretty mediocre, but I'm working on that. Sources. I wish Thomas got more time. Yeah, I like. It's tough because there's a lot of players on the Jazz bench that I would love to see. And Thomas, like if he came in and got more time, I bet he could be a bigger contributor. But I don't know. It's like it's that opportunity cost of if he gets minutes, someone else isn't getting minutes that also probably deserves them. So I would love to see him play more though, come in and hit some threes. Um, that would be a lot of fun. Um, sorry. So it says, do I think KK will ever lose the mask? Um, who's KK? I'm trying to look for. I've not heard that nickname, so maybe I'm just on the outside looking in, um, but I don't know. I haven't been following. Uh, I don't know. I probably don't know enough of the background to give you a good answer for that, Carter. So, um, yeah. um, cool. And it sounds like YouTube Shorts and highlights. Yeah, I'll test it out. I YouTube Shorts. It's a cool idea. Obviously, I'm in marketing. That's what I do for work, and so I'm always keeping track of like different things like that. And and YouTube Shorts, I think, is a fun idea. Um, Oh, okay. So for background with the mask comment, Kristen Kenny, one of the reporters, she wears a mask when she's in her office by herself. uh, she'll probably wait until e- everything's back to like 99% normal, and then she will. I feel like that's kind of weird. How the mask has almost just been like a statement more than the practical purpose of what it was originally for some people. Uh, but yeah, cool. Uh, the chat's a little dead. I'll rant on for a little bit, just like give time, like give some time for more people to join. But I'll actually, with that being said, I'm going to let's go over the rest of the schedule because I said there's only a few games left. Um, we went over this a little bit on Saturday, but I feel like we were focusing more on other teams because I'm where these last few games when you're fighting for seeding, I feel like it's fun because every single game starts to matter. It's like even if the Jazz win, it matters a lot what the Suns' schedule is and what the. I don't think anyone's in the race for any other seeding for 1 or 2, unless the Jazz or Suns really slip up. But it's fun because you start paying attention to other teams and it starts impacting you a lot more. Um, I guess in the NFL you get that a lot more because there's a lot fewer games overall. Um, and okay, so before I hop in, there's a few more chats. Um, so I'll hop into those before going over the rest of the schedule. But real quick, there are 7 games left after this game, so that's really quick. That's here in less than 2 weeks. The regular season's over. So Story says it scares me Donovan won't be himself to like 3 games of the playoffs. That that's true because we have, like I just said, we have less than 2 weeks left. Um, and Donovan's not getting reevaluated until Saturday. So my guess is he probably won't play Saturday, but he might play Monday, or the next game after that is Wednesday. And in that case, he has 3 or 4 regular season games to get back into it. Um, which if he comes back and he's like at 95%, that might be fine. It it sounds like they're kind of being on the cautious side. I feel like they don't want to get anywhere close to rushing him back. Um, so that is a concern I have, Sawyer. I don't know if that is going to be a major concern that we're going to face, but that brings up the issue of if the Jazz don't get the first seed, we're playing most likely either the Mavericks, the Lakers, or the Trailblazers. And they'd be the 7th seed and we'd be the 2nd seed in that scenario. Those are all 3 teams that like the Jazz are better than, but if something like Mitchell not being 100%, that could really make it like I would that could make it a scary season, a scary series. And the Lakers at full health, I don't know. That's up in the air. Are the Jazz better than the Lakers at full health? Um, that early in the playoffs, I would probably bet on the Jazz just because the Lakers haven't. It's just been a weird season for them. They never really gotten in a rhythm except for a little bit at the beginning. Their whole team has been beaten up, so I would say the Jazz are better than the Lakers, at least early in the playoffs. But that's a really real concern because 4 games really isn't enough to get back into rhythm. And then when you get to the playoffs, every game counts, especially if you're playing one of those teams. If the Jazz can hold on to the first seed, then it might be a different story. It the Jazz can probably hold on because the other options for that, most likely, if the Jazz get the first seed, they're probably playing the Warriors, which the Warriors as a team aren't very good. The issue is you have Steph Curry that you have to deal with, and so they might drop a few, especially if Donovan's not at full health. Um, so I guess it's something we'll have to watch if we if we need to fight for the first seed, which is probably why I'll be keeping track of the standings a little more closely and bringing those up. Um, but yeah, that is a real concern. I probably spent way too much time on that comment than you expected me to. Um, and then and Sawyer, along with like what I'm saying with the Lakers, Sawyer says, I saw an interview that LeBron said he probably won't ever be back to 100% again. Um, I'd have to listen to the interview and know the exact context, but what I'm thinking with that is what's probably happening there is LeBron is realizing like this injury that LeBron had probably wasn't as big of an injury. Like if he had that early in his career, it would be a little bump in the road. But now that he's 36, it's taking him longer to heal. He's realizing that his body is slowing down after something that probably wouldn't have been as big of a deal 10 years ago. So I think my interpretation of that would be he's realizing that he's not going to be the same LeBron James as before. And maybe he's not talking about the specific injury slowing him down that much. Maybe he's just realizing that because it's taking him so long to heal, he can't play like he used to. But I don't know. I may be wrong. I don't know the context of that, but that's that's interesting, and that's something that I've been thinking about as it's been taking this long for him to get back. And now that he's playing again, he's still going to be resting games because he's not feeling close to 100% yet. Um, and and here's Carter's. I don't know if I don't know, Carter, are these your predictions or are these your? I hope this is how it turns out for the playoffs. But Carter says a first seed Jazz, and they'd be playing the 8 seed Grizzlies in the first round. Second seed Suns will be playing the 7th seed Mavs. Third seed Clippers with 6th seed Lakers, and then Nuggets and Blazers. Yeah, it is a little bit of a stretch. I don't like. It's not even that big of a stretch though, because the Blazers are only half game back. The reason I'd say like I think the biggest stretch is the Blazers moving up to 5, but then again that's not a huge stretch. Um, and then and I wouldn't be shocked if the Grizzlies make it to 8. Um, I think the Grizzlies out of the teams available are probably the I don't know if they're the ideal matchup. I think they're a really good matchup. Obviously, the Jazz beat them every time we played them, but the Grizzlies were hurt every time we played them. And by the time they get to the playoffs, I haven't followed it closely, but I believe they should be healthy. But still, the Jazz should easily get through the Grizzlies. Suns and Mavericks. Suns should get through the Mavs, but it might be a tough series. Lakers Clippers is up in the air, and Blazers Nuggets. That would be a really fun one. And honestly, like the Nuggets are the favorite, but that one's honestly up in the air. So I would love if that's how it turned out. Um, I think 1 through 4 is how it's going to end up, and your 5, 6, 7s might be mixed up anyway. And then I say 1 through 4 is how it's going to end up, but 1 and 2 might switch. Is what I'm worried about. But cool. I'll go over the rest of the schedule because we have less than 2 weeks, as I mentioned before. So we just beat the Spurs by 11 points. On Wednesday, we'll be playing the Spurs again. And this is at home again. So, and then we stay home for the next 2 games after that. On Friday, we'll be playing Denver and Salt Lake. And then we'll be playing Houston and Salt Lake. Houston should be an easy win. We beat them not too long ago. Denver is going to be a tough game, especially since the Jazz are going to be beat up. Wouldn't be shocked if we lost that one. We just need to beat the Spurs in Houston, and if we lose the Denver one, like that's an oh well situation, but it's a tough loss at any point when it's this tight of a race. Then Monday we play Golden State, or the following Monday, so a week from today. The following Wednesday after that, we play Portland. That next Friday, we have Oklahoma City. Then Sunday, there is a game in Sacramento against the Kings. So the games are Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. And that's the season for the Jazz, which is kind of crazy that we're this close. I feel like it snuck up on me a little bit. And looking at the games available, like Golden State, we should beat them no matter what, really. And by then, Donovan Mitchell hopefully will be back. So the only games that I'm really a little bit concerned about are Portland and Denver. As long as the Jazz play their type of basketball, they should win every other game other than those two. And I'm hoping they can pull out at least one of those two. And if that's the case, if they can pull 6 out of the next 7, I would give their chances of holding on to the first seed like pretty high. Like the Suns are playing great, but I don't think the Suns are going. I think the Suns are going to drop a few, and I don't remember the Suns' exact schedule, but I remember it's a little bit harder than the Jazz. So that's what's coming. I'll probably keep a closer eye on the schedule. Any changes with these teams, what's going on. I'll at least try my best. I'll keep an eye on the standings and I'll give an update every game. But as far as that goes, great game from the Jazz. Loved watching them play the style of basketball. And yeah, I think I'm the Jazz made me happy. Sometime the past stretch, I've had some times where the Jazz kind of ruined my evening because they did not play how they should. But tonight was a good one. Make sure to join me on Wednesday. So I'll be doing Wednesday and Friday. So the game against the Spurs again and the game against the Nuggets, and then Nate will be back. So make sure to join me for those streams. If you're a Jazz fan and you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button because we focus on everything Jazz here. And like, there's not many places on YouTube that do that. So you'll want to be subscribed here. And if you want to participate in these live chats while we're live, there's no like set amount of time. Normally I'm on for like 20, 25 minutes. And so I realize, like, if you get caught up busy in your day, it's tough to miss that, but it's really a lot more fun when more people are here. So if you can hit that notification bell, that'd be great. You get a notification when I go live, and then if you have time, hop on, join the chat because that's really what makes these a lot of fun. And we've had some in the past where a lot of people are on, and I'm on here for an hour plus just because we're having a great conversation. So I really just go until the conversation dies out. But yeah, join me on Wednesday. Hopefully, it'll be right after another Jazz win. Thanks, guys, for joining me tonight. I'm happy. Hopefully, you're happy. Hopefully, you're excited for the season to wrap up and see what happens in the playoffs. But uh, yeah, thanks again for joining me and have a good night.